Well, the Russian military claims that it thwarted an apparent Ukrainian drone attack overnight in Moscow. According to Russia's defense ministry, one drone crashed into a high rise tower after losing control. Meanwhile, Russian drones targeted Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv. At least one person was injured. The CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio is joining me now from Ukraine. So let's start with the latest information. What can you tell us about this apparent attack inside Moscow and Ukraine's strategy of bringing the war to Russia?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, hi there. This attempted drone attack on the Russian capital is the second time in 48 hours. And while Ukrainian officials haven't confirmed they're behind it, it very much seems that President Zelensky is making good on his promise, his threat even, that war would return to Russia when he said that on Sunday night. Now, in today's incident, Russia's military says that it downed two drones outside the capital, and then a third, was electronically jammed. And that happened to crash into the same skyscraper that was hit by a jammed drone on Sunday morning. And this comes a day after Russia's attack on the hometown of President Zelensky, that is Kryvyi Rih. At least 75 people were hurt there, several of them children. And what this shows, Anne-Marie, is that Ukraine is trying to match Russian assaults, but we're really seeing that Russia's attacks are causing much more damage and injuries, very much lopsided.
Ramy, that's what's going on in Russia. What are you hearing about Ukraine's campaign to reclaim territory in its south?
Sure, Ed. Intense fighting still going on in the south, focused on two sectors. They're calling them two axes of the southern front. Both of them lead to the Sea of Azov, which is about 100 miles south. One of those axes is from the small town of Kharkiv. We've been talking about this for the past week. We're going to continue talking about this, towards the city of Melitopol. The other from the town of Velika Novosilka, a little bit further towards the west, and that goes south towards Berdyansk. Now, the implied strategy here is to cut off Russian access to the Crimean Peninsula, after, of course, that was annexed illegally back in 2014 by Russia. Now, every report that you'll see and you'll hear stresses it is very much slow going. This region heavily mined by Russia, heavily defended by Russian troops. But if Ukraine were to succeed, it would be a massive coup. But one estimate of progress out there shows that they've only managed, get this, 5 miles each month for the past 2 months. And again, they have nearly 100 miles to go. If this is the current pace of things, that's looking at about 20 months to go.
So, Raymond, so far we've seen China and a number of African nations present plans to end the war to Vladimir Putin. Most observers are not taking any of those plans particularly seriously. But now we have something new. Saudi Arabia is hosting peace talks with Ukraine and other nations. What's happening this weekend, and is this being taken seriously at all?
I think in short, Anne-Marie, no, it's not being taken seriously. And for this upcoming attempt at peace talks, the third now, you talked about China, we had the Russia-Africa summit, now with Saudi Arabia. There's even talk that the Vatican has its own peace plan initiative out there too. This upcoming one later this weekend comes about 2 weeks after the leaders of many African nations presented their peace plan. That was in St. Petersburg. Ukraine was not invited there. And then these new talks in Saudi Arabia, which is being organized by Ukraine, those aren't including Russia. Kyiv has made it clear the Kremlin isn't welcome and that Ukraine has the right to guide the development of a peace plan because war is happening right here on its soil. And as for the plan itself, we've heard many of these before. It's a 10-point plan. These folks love 10-point plans. This plan looking at calling for Ukraine's territory to be restored, for Russian troops to leave, and for a tribunal for those responsible. And if you look at it through the lens of President Vladimir Putin of Russia, we can expect he'll have a very tough time saying yes to any, if not all of these.
Well, Ramy Inocencio there inside Ukraine, thank you to you and your team. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.